There's a moment in building income where effort, systems, and operations are no longer the main problem. The income system works. It runs. It compounds slowly but reliably. And yet, something still feels unresolved. Not operationally. Psychologically. You're no longer just building. You're no longer just operating. But you're also not fully owning what you've created. That's because ownership is not a function of income size. It's a function of relationship. The transition from builder to owner begins when income stops feeling like something you're responsible for producing and starts feeling like something you're responsible for protecting. That distinction matters. Builders ask, what do I need to do next? Operators ask, what needs to keep working? Owners ask something different. They ask, what must never be put at risk? That question quietly changes everything, because ownership shifts attention away from growth mechanics and toward exposure. What is this income system dependent on? Where is it fragile? What assumptions does it quietly rely on? These aren't efficiency questions. They're survival questions. And survival is the first responsibility of ownership. Ownership begins when protecting income becomes more important than expanding it. That doesn't mean growth stops. It means growth becomes selective. As a builder, you add. As an operator, you refine. As an owner, you decide what not to touch. Owners understand that every income system has a cost of change. Every redesign resets learning. Every pivot introduces risk. Every new dependency increases exposure. Builders tolerate that risk because they need discovery. Owners minimize it because they already have something worth keeping. That's the transition. Not from effort to ease, but from motion to judgment. This is also where income begins to feel different emotionally. Builders feel urgency. Operators feel responsibility. Owners feel gravity. The income system carries weight now. People rely on it. Time reinforces it. Decisions echo forward. And that weight changes how you think. You stop asking whether an idea is interesting and start asking whether it is safe. Safe for cash flow. Safe for reputation. Safe for continuity. Safe for the long term. That doesn't make owners conservative. It makes them intentional. Because ownership is not about control. It's about risk placement. An owner's job is not to grow income at all costs. It's to ensure income survives the costs of growth. This is where many entrepreneurs stall. They build income systems strong enough to operate, but never strong enough to own. They keep treating the system like a project instead of an asset. So they expose it to unnecessary volatility. They chase short-term upside at the expense of long-term stability. They introduce dependencies they don't fully control. They trade optionality for speed. And over time, the system may earn more, but it becomes harder to protect. Ownership corrects that. Ownership asks, what parts of this income system must remain boring? What parts must remain predictable? What parts should never depend on my daily energy? Those questions don't reduce ambition. They channel it. Because once income is protected, ambition stops being dangerous. This is also where the owner mindset changes how leverage is used. Builders use leverage to accelerate. Operators use leverage to stabilize. Owners use leverage to reduce exposure. They remove single points of failure. They shorten feedback loops. They diversify dependencies without fragmenting focus. Not to do less, but to make income harder to break. And that's when income stops feeling personal. Not emotionally personal, structurally personal. The system no longer mirrors your mood, energy, or attention. It behaves independently, And independence is the core asset of ownership. You don't truly own an income system until it can disagree with you and still function. If your absence breaks it, you don't own it yet. If your bad week derails it, you don't own it yet. If every decision requires your intuition, you don't own it yet. Ownership doesn't remove involvement. It changes the kind of involvement. Owners intervene rarely but decisively. They don't manage activity. They manage boundaries. What the system is allowed to become, what it is not allowed to risk, what trade-offs are unacceptable. That clarity is what allows income to persist beyond phases, trends, and cycles. And this is where time finally changes roles completely. As a builder, time pressures you. As an operator, time trains you. As an owner, time works for you. Because the system is no longer being reshaped constantly. It is being reinforced. Defaults harden. Reputation compounds. Trust deepens. Income becomes less about momentum and more about position. And position is the quiet reward of ownership. You don't feel busy. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel fragile. You feel responsible. Responsible for something that now exists beyond you. That's the final shift. The transition from builder to owner is not about stepping back. It's about stepping into stewardship. It's about recognizing that income systems, once mature, are no longer experiments. They are environments. And environments don't need more energy. They need care. When you become an owner, income stops asking you to prove it can exist. It starts asking you to prove you can protect it. That's the moment growth becomes durable. And that's when income stops being something you chase and becomes something you are now trusted to hold.